Yeah. Okie doke. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's on. Thanks. Well, it's Colin here again. This is my fifth, no, wait a minute, it's my seventh or eighth video. Now, what I'm looking at now is to get some action involved here. Now, my first 2 or 3 videos I've put on about the Olympics, and you'll need to see them to make sure. Excuse me, just a bit of an itch. Now, what we're going to have to do is to write to the New Zealand committee, send them an email, and I suggested to give them arseholes, because if you give them arseholes, they're more able to do something about it. If you say, look, we demand gyms, we demand athletes train hard, we demand gold, diamonds, rubies, and that's what I've outlined in my first 2 or 3 videos. But however, you don't have to give them arseholes. Maybe some people would be against, think, if I have to give them arseholes, I won't bother, or something like that. People differ. Excuse me. So, therefore, write to the Olympic Committee in the way that you like to write to them. You might like to write to them in the way that you like to write. Well, that's all right. You don't have to give them arseholes. But I've got 52 followers, so if your whole 52 could send an email to the committee saying we want these gyms, as I've outlined in my first 2 or 3 videos. If you haven't seen them, dig them up on YouTube, on Facebook and Instagram and that. Now, so we've got to have these changes. Now, we haven't got a reply yet. The guy that's helping me do these videos, I don't know anything about these videos. He wrote, and he hasn't got a reply back either, because it is holiday time and that. But I don't deem much hope, really. But if 52 people could send emails, or 52 emails, that would might help to raise eyebrows. Then they listen to my videos, and then they can write to Tokyo and get changes done, because changes, as I say now, can be done, as you know, just literally with pressing buttons. You can press button, you can put money into somebody's account by just pressing buttons. You can what's I say? Looking at the time here. You can even probably open up somebody's bank account for somebody by pushing buttons, because you can put money into somebody's account, of course, but you can't take it out hardly. Now, so that's what's needed is Tokyo to get it, and then make a decision then, because it can be done quickly. That's right, by just pressing buttons. You can even open up somebody's account by probably pressing buttons. And so, although the Olympics not until the end of July, there's still time, because it's so quick today. Things done, because I've mentioned about the money side in 2 or 3 in my first two or three videos. So that's what's required. If you can send them an email, it should be on here. You should be able to get the email, I think, on Instagram or something, whatever they do these days on my videos. I've just found out that you're only allowed 1 minute on Instagram, but that's enough to find out what I've got and how to follow me. But then if you're one of the 52 that's already following me, well, then that's good. So you're okay. So if you haven't if you haven't contacted the New Zealand Committee for the Olympics, then please do so. As I say, you can write in the way you like to write. You don't have to give them arseholes a bloody tour. It's just that I suggested arseholes because that's what will get them going, you know. So look, we demand this. And seeing in this particular case that they're with you all the way as well, because they want to see our athletes coming back with diamonds, and especially a spread of diamonds, like what I mentioned in one of my videos. I was watching a TV, and there's a live program coming from the US on this porn broker. He would take in stuff, and so this woman wanted to sell him a spread of jewellery for 500,000 smackers because she wanted to buy an apartment for 500,000. So reluctantly, he did offer her 300,000, but she says no, because she wanted 500,000 to buy her apartment. So finally, he shook her hand, and that's the way he did it. He shook the hand, then that's it. So he shook her hand, so he gave her 500,000, and there was just a nice spread of just like a fan, a spread of big, large kind of rubies or whatever, and so that'd even be better to give our athletes, not only New Zealand, of course, but whoever comes first around the world, and give them a spread worth about 500,000. So that'd even be better still. But so it's a matter then of contacting the Olympic Committee. So if you haven't already done so, could you please do so as soon as you can. If they're on holiday still, they can sit there on their emails. They'll probably clear their emails anyway when they're on holiday. I don't know anything about emails yet. Still learning this new technology. So that's the thing to do then, and that's to contact the Olympic Committee, and then of course they'll contact hopefully Tokyo, and then we can get it going, and then our athletes can come back with diamonds and rubies and emeralds and sapphires. Those are about the 4 top gems in the world. See, this gold, as I say, it's just plated gold. It's plated on what? Brass, maybe? It's plated on some. It's not plated on gold, because the last gold medal, as mentioned, was 1912, was the last proper gold medal. So you're plating gold onto some metal. What is that metal? Brass? Well, that means then that first comes first, doesn't get a gold medal a bloody tall, but they get a brass medal, plated with a little bit of thin gold, and you see gold, and so you think you've got gold because you go by your eyes. But how could you sell a thing like that if they knew that it was just brass plated with gold? Who would buy it? So anyway, there's that. So if you can work on that, and the other thing, of course, we've got to take stadiums around New Zealand now to overcome these New Zealand problems. I've explained about that on my videos too, how what happened in Cali, and I don't want to keep repeating myself all the time. But repetition up to a point is very good, because it can entrench deeper each time that you say something. How's this light here? So to take stadiums is going to be a problem to overcome our problems, because we'll have to take stadiums to cover the whole of New Zealand if we want a New Zealand-wide effort in anything. Because otherwise, if it's just Wellington, say the Westpac Stadium, then all we can expect is something for Wellington, whatever. As I mentioned in one of my videos back in 2007, they got together and there was a unity there in Wellington for, I don't know how long it was, a day or two. The police noticed the difference. There was no crime during that time, and they put it down to this particular unity thing between the Christians got together and but they buggered things up and that, and as Christians can do, they can fuck things up easy too, and man gets in the bloody way and fucks the thing up, and there's nice unity there, but it was just for Wellington, you see, because Wellington. But for New Zealand, we'll need to have a New Zealand-wide effort. But you really need to, of course, to hear my videos, and if you're following me, then you've probably heard them. So, but it's going to be difficult to get stadiums going unless you've got some kind of large backup, or you've got prominent people like Jacinda or somebody like that. Excuse me again. So I was a little bit itchy. So therefore, I'm sort of coming to the stage where I'm sort of looking for action now. I've given my videos, and we need to get action. We've seen it happen. As in my videos, New Zealand was supposed to be bombed and such like by the Japanese. It's on one of my videos, and how they got together and interceded about it, and a New Zealand-wide effort. Well, I assume it was probably a New Zealand-wide effort rather than just Wellington. They took the old town hall in Wellington, and the bombing never started on New Zealand. And then, as I mentioned in Kali, I don't want to repeat myself a bloody again. So it's necessary that we get these stadiums going to stop these things, and then when we take the first one around New Zealand, and then the smaller centres, like say Woodville, as I've said, say the largest hall they've got, and it'll all be done together, so on a Saturday afternoon, and then we've got to give thanks, as I've mentioned before, and keep giving thanks. I don't want to keep repeating myself on these too much again, and then we can start to see some action. So it's a matter of now getting some action. Now, see, there's all sorts of problems in New Zealand, and it can all overcome by the same person, which is the same person that made fucking, as I've mentioned before. Fucking is a problem in New Zealand, and a problem like not getting it and not getting it properly, and if people could have their sex life properly, it could really make a difference. And the author of all sex is, of course, the Holy Spirit, as I've said before. Who made it? He made it. And incidentally, he made kissing to be on the lips, as I've probably said before, not on the cheek. This bloody cheek bullshit, it's all bullshit. Sometimes you see a girl, in the past I've seen a girl standing in front of me, and her lips were just sitting pretty there. And she's pretty close to you, or she's not too close for a big joke. If they get close to you, they don't do that for a big joke. So the lips were beautifully sitting there, and you go for them, but by the time you turn your head a bit to get to her, she see you coming, she's seen you coming, and she bloody well gives you a bloody cheek, and it's a bloody nuisance when they do that. It's a bastard. It happened before. So a good bloody idea is to, when you see her sitting pretty, put your hands on her, both sides of her chin, and hold her that way, and keep the balance. See if you can keep her head straight, so you can go for the lips, and then you get the lips. See, as I say, you see, kissing's on the lips. The Holy Spirit made it be on the lips, not on the cheek. Cheek's all bullshit. So there's all sorts of problems in New Zealand, and sex is one of them. We've got, of course, all these accidents on our roads, and white island eruption. But the Holy Spirit can stop all these things, you see. He can do this, and but we really need something to happen to show the people, the atheists, and that what's happening. And this is why we need to start taking stadiums. Then once the atheists and others see that there's no accidents are bloody tall on our roads, let alone any deaths, they'll sit up and think, well, what the fuck's going on here? These Christians and anybody else that wanted to join in the stadiums, ever since they take these stadiums, there's not one bloody death, a bloody toll, not even a bloody accident. What the fuck's going on here, and start to take notice, you see, and because deaths on our roads or accidents are more important, of course, than the Olympics, because the Olympics are only games, and they spend so much bloody time on it too, and so much effort on it when more important things are there. People are dying overseas for the necessities of life, and so on. Now, so we'll just have a look. Well, I've got some time here. Again, on this fucking thing, you see, it's a very important issue in New Zealand. See, what I'd like to see in New Zealand, can be a first for the world, is for New Zealand to be a clothing optional country, so that you can walk naked if you like, anywhere, anytime. You can fuck anywhere you want to. You can jerk it off if you want to. A woman can do her thing and climax with her fingers or whatever they do, and she can do it anywhere because it's a very natural thing to do. Masturbation is a very, very natural thing. Fucking, of course, is better, but it's still a very natural thing. And so we could be the first in the world to do this, and people will wonder, New Zealand, what's New Zealand? What's happening in New Zealand? The only country in the world that could allow this. There's no other country in the world, not even Tokyo or the big time wrestlers there go around, show a lot of bum, the big heavyweights and that sort of thing. But you still Tokyo, you still can't have normal fucking anywhere and anything like that. So New Zealand could be the first in the world. Apart from, I don't know, any other part, any part of the world apart from possibly still in some obscure jungle or something, and the natives or something might walk naked still, but there wouldn't be anything to crow about. There'd only be the odd tribe or something somewhere in Africa or somewhere like that walk naked, but there's no other country that does it. You go anywhere, France or anywhere, they're always clothed up, and don't walk the streets naked. Because the women are getting better now. They're showing quite a bit of bum, some of them now, bare bum, and see, they're wanting to express themselves, you see, and you're holding them up. You see, it causes nervousness to suppress anything, actually. But if it's something that's, what you can do is you can express your emotions harmlessly. So like punching a pillow or something like that, you could say, take that, you bastard, take that, you fucking shithouse. And in fact, Adele Davis got a woman like that. She was an author of books, nutritional books. Adele Davis, she wrote Let's Get Well and Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit. And anyway, a woman came to her about some matter with her arthritis was bad or something, and all of a sudden in her presence, this woman began to punch something harmlessly, and she was, Adele Davis was a bloody maze because she was sort of so-called swearing like a trooper, and she and after she'd done this carry on, she excuse me again, so it's with the weather or something. Or it's a bit of sweating or something. She felt much better after that, and so you see, it's like in the lab. If you bottle up gases in the lab, you can get a fire in the lab. In fact, you can maybe get an explosion in the lab. And so the same with emotions. We've got to let out our emotions harmlessly, or whatever, and then we can feel better. Worst thing is to bottle up our emotions, In fact, somebody was looking up the internet and mentioned about cancer. One cause apparently of cancer is repressed emotions. Dad, on the other hand, and all the time I'd known Dad, he'd only been in bed once for something. And it wasn't much, It wasn't much. It may be the flu or something. He never gets the flu anyway. But it was only one time I'd ever known Dad to be in bed. And it wasn't much. And Dad was always one that let out his emotions. For example, if Dad couldn't sleep, then Mum knew about it. So you let your emotions out somehow, harmlessly, or whatever. So the worst thing is to bottle up your emotions. Well, what's happening in New Zealand, you see, you build up your emotions. Like, for example, I do busking in the street and these girls come up to me, droop their tits and that. It's actually okay probably to feel their tits because they got them bare and they're drooping them at you, and you won't get the electric chair on that one. You shouldn't get the electric chair on that, so you should be right on that one. They get close to you and you just laugh, and they'll probably laugh. But it lets out your emotions. You feel them and you can't feel them, or you got a short skirt on and they're really close to you and you feel like slipping your hand under the dress and that. And you see, if you can't do it, it's your emotions are repressed. And then, as I say, you know what happens in the lab. If the gases build up, there can be an explosion in the lab, an explosion in humans too, in the form of cancer and heart attack and different things. We must let out our emotions. And the best way, of course, is rather than to sort of do it another way, is if you feel like a fuck, to be able to have a fuck, and you see, you get a girl, say, before work, if she could get a good fuck and she climaxed at least once, it could make her day, you see, for work. And the same with a guy too, if he had good fuck before work or something, it's a very important thing, you see, sex. It's a very repressed one, it's about probably the most repressed one, the one that causes embarrassment and that more than anything, just about, and yet it's such a natural thing. It's just the way we've been brought up about it, that's all. Sometimes you can get a couple, the whole families walk naked in, say, a nudist club, you see, and that's more natural, you see. And you see, so you see, this is one thing I'm wanting for New Zealand, is to be able to walk naked in New Zealand if you want to. Clothing optional country. And you can fuck anywhere you like, as long as you're not got your legs over on the footpath on the gutter or something for cars coming past or something like that, or getting in people's way perhaps. But in itself, it should be natural. You can eat in the street. You can breathe in the street. You don't go around in front of people gasping for breath, thinking, oh, you're not allowed to breathe in front of people. You can breathe naturally in front of people. That's how it should be so with sex, because it's a very natural thing. And if you don't get it, you see, you're going to be in trouble. See, there's so much unfortunate things have happened. Like I was reading of a poor guy in the United States, poor sexually frustrated cunt he was, and one day he pucked up courage to ask this lady for a kiss. So it didn't say actually whether he kissed her or not, but she just said, oh, don't be daft. But that was just a remark that just happened to come out of her mouth. She didn't really mean that. She just was caught by surprise or whatever and just said that. Sometimes we just say things, we don't know why we say them and that. Now, it didn't say whether he'd actually kissed her or not, But a tragedy happened in that he killed her with a spanner simply because he was afraid that she'd tell her husband. Now, you see, that was a tremendous tragedy that should never have happened. In my case, I was in a very sexually frustrated way, and in my hometown, Wairoa, it's a small town between Napier and Gisborne, and a small town between Napier and Gisborne, about just on the coast. It's called Wairoa. And so I was in a very sexually frustrated way, and so I stripped off naked to a couple of girls across the road, actually. See, when you're more sexually frustrated, the more you're inclined to do these things. So anyway, another girl saw me and reported it to a great guy in Wairoa. He's a great guy, he was. He could have been, he was a great guy. One of the greatest guys in Wairoa, and I've just forgotten his name now offhand. He could have made a good mayor of Wairoa, actually. Just can't think of his name now. It was a long time ago. He might be dead now. Just forgotten his name. He was a really down-to-earth kind of a guy. So when he heard about it, he just knew I was just sexually frustrated, and so he arranged a girl I went to school with. I think I was in the same class with her, actually. And he told me to go to the pub where she drinks. So I had a similar experience to this guy in the States, but of course not with any Spaniards or anything like that. But it was just that I stood outside the pub, but I was afraid to go to her because of her husband, you see, just the same as this guy in the States, but just on the fear of the husband. We see how that causes sexual frustration and sexual, it bottles things up, and then bang, you get an explosion. And the best explosion to get is fucking, and then you come right. That's what happened to me. I was in a very sexually frustrated way years ago, and the jerking it off didn't make any bloody difference much. Jerk it off maybe about 4 or 5 times a day, and one time I jerked off about 10, 12 times in one day. But it didn't seem to make a vast difference, actually. But when I got into threesomes, I got into the threesome situation, the wife swapping so-called thing, and I got 3 threesomes, 2 threesomes from the one couple and 1 threesome from another couple. And that improved me by about 50% improvement. It stayed that way too. It's not as if it just lasted a week or so. It was sort of an permanent improvement. You see, I finally got something, and then I got more. I got some more threesomes and that, a few more. And then slowly over the years, I've come down now to about 15, 20% sexual frustration. It's not much bloody at all now. I kind of, I'm quite stabilised. It still is a problem though, but I kind of, I can't be bothered really much with it at the moment. That's the problem too. I think there's so much trouble with them, that woman and that, and things that's happened to me. I kind of just can't be bothered with them, and well, I'm not sure. I'm afraid of the baby question too, actually. That's so I had 3 or 4 girls wanted me in the street, and one literally dragged me actually along the way. She wanted me to go night clubbing with her, and but I couldn't leave my gear there. I actually busked to support her work in Africa. Actually, if you ever see me busking in Lambton Quay, not Lambton Quay, Courtenay Place or Cuba Mall or anywhere, understand that I'm fundraising actually for work in Africa actually. So I'm actually fundraising. And so yes, I say too, it can be a problem there, when they get close to you and that. And but anyway, I don't know what my time is going here. What's the time here? I better close here a minute. Don't give me much time here. What's I got here? or is it 29 minutes? Goodness, I think it's like 29 minutes. Or 20 minutes, 20. Oh, it's 30. It's half an hour now, I think. I better close. Goodness, time, excuse me. Just look at that time here. 30 minutes. So I must close. So I'll catch up with you on another video. In the meantime, if you can contact the Olympic Games, 32 under 52 followers, please contact them and see if we can get New Zealanders come home with, in Tokyo, come home with diamonds, gems, especially a spray worth $500,000, and that really spread it for those that come first and second, say, and third. Well, anyway, I must go. My time's up. So I'll catch up with you again. So thanks for listening. All right, bye. All right, yeah, I think I got it on.
Cool.
I'll pop in again tomorrow if I've got time.
Yeah, right, yeah, can I come in the morning?
Yeah, I might do another
Yeah,
one.
cool.
Yeah, so